Hey, Crystal. Thanks for agreeing to host this show with me. You picked a great setting to record in.
You're welcome. And it is. It used to be a crematorium before the police closed it off after those teens committed murder-suicide.
What?
I mean, listen to those acoustics. It really has that decrepit sound. The air is so musty.
Are you okay, Crystal? You seem really excited.
You set up the equipment. I'll just dance around like I'm in many contemporary movies of this age.
Okay. Well, you're limber. And your skirt is... now it's right above your waist. Oh, wow.
You like?
Yeah, I do.
How about I slip into something more comfortable?
Like this.
Oh, wow. This night is getting more eventful than I thought. Nice fangs.
What? This is when people run off screaming.
Why?
Well, usually the pustules scare them.
Well, I went through acne as well, but, you're still stacked and you got nice yellow eyes.
Really? You think I'm pretty?
You should have seen my dates in high school. This is still a step up.
Well, okay then. Let's do this.
You don't have teeth down there, do you?
No, we're not reviewing teeth this time. I might gouge your eyes out.
Hey, I can go home for free healthcare.
I like your style. You aren't recording this, are you?
Of course not. Hello and welcome to The Graveyard Shift, the weekly horror podcast where we take a horror movie every week suggested by our listeners and break it down into what we like, what we didn't like, and anything else we find fun or relevant. My name is Mike, and I never work the graveyard shift alone. Tonight's co-host isn't my usual Shelley, more like Mary Shelley. Please say hi to Crystal Bilbray.
Hi.
Crystal, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
I can just feel the excitement coming from your voice.
I'm actually very excited, although I do miss Sheldon.
Oh yeah, Sheldon 3000 had to go into the shop for repairs.
Hopefully he'll be back soon.
Well, he's on vacation, actually. Just spending time with family. Good for him.
Yeah.
Be nice if I had that, but my family is so close I can never get a vacation.
I don't know what a family's like.
Oh, wow. Just when I thought I made it sad, you're just like, hold my beer.
Yes. I'm good at that.
So welcome to the downer episode of The Graveyard Shift. Okay, before we get into tonight's movie, Crystal, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like what you do or your love of horror?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Crap, I don't know what to say. I'm currently unemployed.
Don't you mean fun employed?
Unemployed, yes.
Life is full of opportunity for you.
Oh, yes, it's very full. They're just not knocking. Let's see. I spend most of my time writing horrible one-liners for Facebook for the two friends that like it.
So, in other words, you would have been perfect for this movie.
Yes, it would have been absolutely perfect for it. And going into that, some stuff about the movie because I don't want to talk about myself anymore.
Maybe we should introduce it.
Yeah, let's introduce it.
Okay, well, tonight's episode is Night of the One-Liners, because we watched Night of the Demons. Released in 1988, on October 14th, we're making it a perfect Halloween, well, priming it to be a Halloween blockbuster. It did not do so great. It had a box office return of $3.1 million US with a 40% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it did not get great reviews. It it's gotten more received over time. But yeah, it. The New York Times reported that the cleverest thing about Night of the Demons is its advertising campaign. And they also said it's stupid, sexist, and at 89 minutes long, it feels unforgivably long. Which is sad because it's right in the sweet spot for Sheldon as far as runtime goes.
It's pretty good for having that kind of return. It was only filmed in 4 weeks, and I thought they did a pretty killer job for that.
Yeah, they did a great rush job. There is no information I can find on its budget. I imagine it wasn't that great, so maybe it broke even, maybe it bombed, maybe it turned a profit.
Actually, I have that information. 1 second. I have all my tabs are open to the special effects, so give me 1 second. Wow, you're making it so pressureful. If that's a word.
Full of pressure, pushing down on me. Well, we'll talk about a little bit more trivia about the movie while we're waiting. This movie had a soundtrack that, I'm pretty sure the budget for the soundtrack wasn't that great, but that has nothing to do with the quality because the soundtrack was provided by the director's brother. That's right, it was directed by Kevin S. Tenney with music by Dennis Michael Tenney. And we'll get into the soundtrack a bit more into the movie.
Okay, so it looks like the budget was $1.2 million US.
Wow, so turned a tiny profit.
Yes.
That is awesome. But there's quite a few things about this movie that is awesome, which leads us into the goods. And usually I start off with the goods, but since I'm a gentleman, ladies first. What was something you loved about Night of the Demons?
Okay, so my first good was the bare ass in the first 10 minutes. Although I later went back and decided that the credits and the theme music was probably going to be my first good, but I was very blinded by ass at that point. So,
blinded by the butt.
It had it didn't feel like, here's some nudity right here. It actually felt like it flowed with the scene, and I appreciated a nice rear end looking back at me. So that's my first like.
Yeah, that was my third like. Like 5 minutes in, and we're treated into some white girl booty. This movie knows how to keep someone's attention.
Yes, it does.
And the girl is putting on a tutu without panties. Like it just looks like she's aiming to bone tonight.
Oh, she was wearing tights though. That's what you did back in the day. And here's the thing with that. I actually have that as one of the extra notes that I have. The tights in this movie that the main girl Judy is wearing. Those are the real hero of this movie. They stay together until the very end. And they're almost pristine the entire time. White tights. I swear to God. Now, I don't know if they make them differently, but if you just look at a pair of tights, they start running. Sorry.
It's so good to have a female perspective on this show. You almost stole my first, was the fantastic opening to this movie. It had a Burton-esque black and white diorama of macabre settings, like a cemetery with picket fences, stills of bony demons, almost on a string, flying into a haunted house with shredded ghostly drapes, cobwebs, a hung corpse, all punctuated with a pointy font written in pumpkin orange, with a very lovely, nice synthy soundtrack, which is very reminiscent of Michael Myers' theme, but also backed with a bit of a progressive rock beat, culminating in an animated fireplace morphing into a pumpkin, which transitions into a real-life pumpkin, on the car belonging to shitty teenage John Candy.
That's perfect. I did not make that connection, but I really enjoyed his underwear in this movie. The pumpkin boxers.
It almost looked like the silver shamrock signal in Halloween 3. So what was your next good?
My next good, I guess, yeah. Besides the whole movie just being really good, the next big thing that stood out to me was basically towards the end, was the makeshift pipe blowtorch. That just really just erased most of the movie for me because I was like very fixated on that and kind of wanted to try it. But I was getting so mad when she was trying to light the thing. Like, move the flame away first. Like, try and light it first and then put the flame to it. But that's just my mind.
All right. My next good is the old man who overreacts to a fat guy mooning him just as badly as he reacts to a lovely teenage girl that sees that he's dropped his stuff and wants to help him. And then he's just like, he insults the shit out of her. And then as she walks away, he starts picking up his groceries, cackling maniacally at both razor blades and apples.
Okay, I wanted to say something about that, but I wasn't sure if I can add in a little extra while you're talking about the good stuff. Because that's what really bothered me about him. What kind of an old man is grocery shopping at night on Halloween? That goes against every old man thing you've ever thought. You know there's going to be a bunch of kids out. It's nighttime. You're tired. You should be home.
Yeah, the stores are going to be filled with teenagers.
Yeah.
That is definitely the time to be indoors. Like, he knew what he was getting into.
Yes. So he kind of deserves it, and I think he just wanted to have a bad attitude towards someone besides his wife.
Yeah, how good is the marriage if you'd rather be in a very unpleasant environment that obviously causes you distress than be at home with the missus?
That sounds like marriage.
Broken homes. So, okay, what is another one of your goods?
And this actually plays into the old man too. His death at the end. I thought it was just poetic genius. Like, the whole story, like, it starts with him and it ends with him, but it's really not even about him. It's about the wife. And she just demolishes him in the perfect way. The effects were brilliant in that part right there too. But
the one thing they foreshadowed.
It was just amazing. I don't know why you buy so many apples. Like, perfect. But who wakes up the next morning to apple pie?
Yeah, that is not a breakfast.
Maybe with razor blades it is.
Well, that's how you get your iron. Okay, my next good is the convenience store scene. We've got Pac-Man sound effects taking you back. Like, the fact that this wasn't like some cheap knockoff. I don't know if they sprung for the license or if they just thought that, damn it, who owns Namco? That Namco just wouldn't sue them for just outright blasting Pac-Man sound effects throughout the convenience store. And then we see the Dark Prom Queen, by way of Dr. Frankenfurter, cleaning out the store from the magnetic, while the two clerks are drawn in by the magnetic allure of the flat ass of the puckish Liana Quigley.
I didn't even see an ass, honestly. All I saw was just lower lips. That was it.
They were just legs that held panties.
Pink panties. Yes, that was it. And I thought,
we already saw a better butt in this movie.
Yes, like, why would they do that? I don't know. Downgraded real good there.
Yeah, but it just goes to show what the pickings are in this town, because those two guys, one guy looked like Joey Pantaleone from the Sopranos and The Matrix. The guy with the glasses.
Yeah. You picked the greatest references.
My brain contains multitudes. It's usually madness, but, every now and then I see something. And the fact is, like, they're so spellbound. Like, basically, she would have to be gone for about a good 5 minutes before they even realize that she's gone.
Yes.
But I can see her allure, like, despite her tiny size. She doesn't have much, but she works it like nothing else.
But that's also really, it's interesting for the time period too, because I don't know about the 80s because I wasn't a teenager back then, but I can't imagine going around in that outfit being that blatant with my goods all out and about. Like, that just seems like a whole lot for some snacks. Just in my head, but
Oh, I feel you. So, what else tickled you about this movie?
That's all I have for goods. I know. It's more to the point where I didn't want to nitpick every single great thing because everything was really good about this movie. Even the bad stuff is good because it sticks in your mind and you want to watch it again because there were things that you missed. I do have a teeny piece of trivia if you'd like to hear it.
Sure thing.
Okay, so the girl, oh gosh, what's her name? Suzanne?
Yes, the flat butt pixie.
Oh no, not her. The gothy one.
Angela.
Yeah, Angela. One of the pieces of trivia that I found was that when you first are introduced to her in the convenience store, her cross is right side up, and then after the kiss between her and Suzanne, it's upside down.
Huh.
I thought that was perfect. I'm so glad that they put that in there, and it's something I did not catch the first time. So it's nice to have read that and then went back and see it, and like, yes, that's perfect. Why didn't I catch that? Because I wasn't staring at her ears. I was staring at two girls kissing, but...
It was pretty hot.
Yes.
Oh, I'll just have to blast by my goods then, and you can, feel free to add whatever you feel.
Okay, I'll just
the
view
soundtrack.
them.
The soundtrack to this movie was immaculate. Most of it was original music except for one song, Stigmata Martyr by Bauhaus, which was well placed in this movie. When the gang comes in, there's this song blasting on called Computer Date, and it's got this breakdown where a girl is just like, I record myself in stereo so we can both enjoy it or something.
It's the best song.
And he mentions weird things like Punch Card Lunchbox. It's just nuts, but the music is so synthy and great. This guy has done a lot of work. Dennis Michael Tenney. He's done work for about 60 movies in the music and sound design, as well as soundtracks. And I believe he did ADR or just basic sound production for Leprechaun 3 and Ghoulies 4, and 56 other movies that I've never heard of, and probably you haven't either.
Yeah, actually looking through them now, I haven't really seen... Yeah, actually any of these. Some of them look really good. It looks like he was involved with Demons 3. Night of the Demons 3.
Most of those titles that he's been in, they sound like softcore pornos.
Oh, that's a new venture for him.
And yeah, like you mentioned, Angela, the way she looks, she is like the perfect dark princess role model for like the pre-Fairuza Balk. Well, she was still a kid growing up. This is obviously some influence for her look later on. And the dance she does to Stigmata Martyr is just spellbinding. Yes. It's not just like her rolling around on the floor. She does some moves.
Didn't she come up with that choreography herself?
You've got the trivia tabs open. You can tell me.
How dare you? I ought to look that up.
When her possession is complete, her demon voice is basically Soundwave. And when the possession begins with Susan, Evil Dead called. They said you did a great job with their camera. This thing goes through so many hallways. Like, I can't imagine the house being this big. Because it goes through about 18 twists and turns, knocking down doors, which apparently nobody hears. And and it ends by going straight down Susan's throat.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many crematoriums that, see, I can't say that word, but that you've been in, but I imagine there's a separate house and the business section. So maybe there are a lot of hallways.
Maybe I'd imagine there'd be the viewing rooms in the main floor, and then like all the working rooms, like the places where they stuff, drain, and embalm, and
Well, that was all
cremate.
in the basement, or was that just the incinerator?
Hard to tell.
Hmm.
Another good in this movie. Within 5 minutes, we get the butt. Within a minute after that, we get boobs in a sheer bra.
Yes.
But 52 minutes in, the pink princess finally bears it all.
That's disturbing that you call it that.
I'm calling her the pink princess, not like a part of her.
Okay. That makes it a little classier.
Like, just out of nowhere. Usually, like, when there's a topless scene in the movies because a girl's shirt has been conveniently ripped by a monster,
Yes.
or she's, like, running out of the shower. No, she's fully dressed, and then she just decides to just rip open her shirt and just stare around the room like she just had to let the knockers breathe. And then she starts, like, messing around with them with lipstick, but that stops being part of the good.
Yeah, well, I actually have a bit of trivia about that particular scene with the lipstick on the boobs and the prosthetics that she was wearing for it. Yeah, Suzanne. She actually married the makeup artist that did the boobs on her. I thought that was...
That is so sweet.
It is. I mean, she went in to get a mold of her boobs and ended up taking home a husband. I'm pretty sure that's the way you do it.
Yeah. Well, also, I believe she also, if that's not the same guy, she was proposed to on the set of Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Warriors. She was doing some prosthetic work, and this guy was like just like hosing the KY jelly off of her, and then he just got down on one knee, and she, like, how do you say no to that?
Yeah. How do you say no to that? That's the perfect proposal.
So, this lady has been around, and she's, I've seen photos of her on Twitter. She's still got the pink dress.
Oh, well, it turns out that they were only married for 2 years. So that might have been another special effects artist who had proposed to her on a different movie set.
How do you not? Like, that's got to be, she's got to be fighting off proposals all the time. She's just like tiny, adorable, down for anything. She'll put on any prosthetic, like team player. Like, that's just somebody that's really awesome.
Yeah, she's not really my type. I mean, I thought
she too short?
No, I mean, I'm short. We're probably the same height, but I think out of all the female characters, I would have gone with the Asian girl. I thought she was really down for anything. Her, wanting to get it on in a coffin, I thought that was pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah, that was another good. Jill Terashita playing Franny. She was in Sleepaway Camp 3 as well, and also bared her top in that movie as well. So far in my tenure on this show, we've only seen like one Asian topless shown throughout the 80s movies, and it's always her.
She is good at what she does.
She's good at being there and being topless.
I mean, I have no complaints from my point of view. She looks great.
And one of my next goods is Susan is a sight for sore eyes.
Oh, wow.
Because she gets on top of this guy after showing everything. And she gets on top of the guy, and you just think, oh, well, I wonder how long it's going to be before she turns into a demon. And you don't have to wait long because she morphs, and he's, of course, like terrified, but pretty hard to get away from someone when they're like straddling you.
She's so tiny, though.
Yeah, I mean, like even as even possessed by a demon, he should have been able to like throw her off or just do like a little like an alligator death roll and just get out from under that.
Well, maybe she had like a death grip on his, situation.
I thought I heard a crunch when she morphed, and I'm just like, oh my god, are they implying that she like teethed him?
Well, he wasn't screaming, and I feel like you would have seen a lot of blood squirting out in that case.
And almost done with my goods. The when Sal falls off the roof, and Angela just says like he should have been gone a while ago, but he had to stick around. And then we see his tombstone, and it says like Sal Romero. So a nice nod to George Romero. And the rest of the tombstone says, born 1970, died tonight.
That was classy. I like that.
And at the very end, when they manage to escape or run out the clock from the demons, they all smoke up, but not like the good smoke up. They all turn into smoke, and then the smoke culminates into a bone dragon.
Yes.
I can't really say much. Oh, hold on. Looks like we're getting a call. Hello?
Hi.
Hey there. We got a special guest.
Are you recording right now?
I am.
Oh, Crystal?
Hey, Crystal. Sheldon says hi.
Hi, Sheldon.
Hi, Crystal. I don't even know if she can hear me. But
Yes,
She can.
I can.
oh, okay. Cool. What movie are you guys watching?
We're watching Night of the Creeps. I mean,
You're
Night
watching
of the
Night
Demons.
of the Creeps?
Night
We
of the
watched
Demons.
that movie already.
And Night of the Demons. There's so many
Oh,
nights.
okay. Yeah, I'm on vacation, so I was just calling to check in and see how everything was going. So, yeah, I guess Crystal can hear me, but I can't hear her.
No.
But, all right, cool. Well, I won't bother you then. That's all I just wanted to do, just check in. And so, Crystal, good luck, and don't fuck up my show.
No promises.
And that's I'm talking to you, Mike. All right, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
Okay, bye. Well, it looks like Sheldon sort of trusts me.
Sort of.
Somewhat.
It's nice to know he cares.
Well, okay, now I guess the rest of the show is ours, and it's and that was a nice little break in the goods, because we've done enough praising for this movie. Well, not enough, because there was just one section of this movie that was so good we couldn't just have it as one or two mentions. We just keep coming back to it, so we've got to just give this its own section, the one-liners. I mean, Crystal, this movie had one-liners up the wazoo, didn't it?
It was honestly great. And I love one-liners, so this movie had it all for me.
And one of the best one-liners this movie starts off with is, "I don't need your help, you little whore!" Like, this girl, out of nowhere, just wants to help an old man pick up his damn groceries, and he immediately calls her a whore.
It was probably the best thing, and I hope that when I am that age, I say things like that, and I don't get my ass beat for it.
What? Okay, now let's just trade off, because there's bound to be a lot of overlap. So you just tell me some of your one-liners from this movie.
Actually, I tried to narrow it down as much as possible, and
Shame.
I know, I'm terrible at life, but my favorite one out of the whole thing, and it actually has a bit of trivia attached to it, was eat a bowl of fuck.
That's one I don't have here.
I thought it was amazing, and it's it's actually based off of the comedian John Belushi. He has said it in one of his live stand-ups, so I thought it was amazing that they can add that in there. And actually, anything Stooge has said in this movie was amazing. Everything,
Oh.
everything out of his mouth was just knocking people down left and right, and it was the greatest thing to see.
I tried to avoid Stooge's lines because I thought he was just like such an abrasive character overall.
That was his beauty.
So I'll just rapid fire some of my highlights. I tried to like only put up like only the ones that made me really laugh. Was when the little brother is waiting in the closet with a mask, he scares the shit out of his sister who's changing, and he gets so fucking inappropriate and says, "Bodacious boobies, sis. You keep growing like that, and you'll need to hire someone to tie your shoes."
I have that under the what the fucks. Because I thought, like, what kind of a brother? If my brother said that to me, I would have lost my mind and just been so creeped out and not looked at him for at least a week. That's so gross.
Like, can I just live in the backyard now, Mom? Please. I just wondered, would this line have worked if they reversed the genders? And a little sister busts out of the closet yelling, "Awesome anaconda, bro! You keep growing like that and you'll need to hire a midget to carry it."
Oh, that is the second movie, clearly.
And the little brother does seem to come to his sister's rescue when Sal comes along to try to muscle in his way into the festivities. And the brother's like, "Judy's getting ready for a date, butthole."
I miss all the terminology from in the 80s. It was so good, so choice.
And Susan, like, after we're introduced to her butt, or lack thereof, she turns around and, like, she gives a sign off to the clerks. "Do you guys have sour balls?" And they're like, "Yeah." She goes, "Too bad, you mustn't get many blowjobs." And the mother in this movie, she only shows up once. And she just gets shat on so much. She brings out these snacks out of the oven, which, you know what? Anything made of chocolate and, like, chocolate finger foods, they're going to look like turds. It doesn't matter. It's chocolate as long as they don't...
They're fudge logs. And she worked really hard on that cereal box recipe.
And the sun just burns her alive when her date doesn't want one. And she says, "Why would he want one? They look like sun-dried poodle turds."
That's such a good line.
I bet you this kid was a young Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
This was his origins.
I think he needs his own movie.
One thing, I do have one Stooge line. When they get a flat tire, the lady disses him like, "I always wondered why they called you Stooge." And he says, "I said I always carry a spare. I never promised you a tire iron."
Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. I said that to my boss last year.
Okay, story time, go.
Well, he came to fix my flat tire, and I told him I had a spare. I didn't say anything about having the tools to change it. And apparently I have very unique tire bolts, or whatever they are.
Oh my gosh.
I had to go to 2 different places for them to literally rip these bolts off of my car so I could get my damn tire changed. It was horrible. But
What car did you have?
well, I have a Ford Escape, and they were recalled. The bolts that are capped onto the bolts. I don't know what they are. Caps for bolts. They were recalled, and I didn't know anything. I don't know. I still don't know anything about cars, and I don't care. So when things go wrong, I just call a man that's way bigger than me to do it. Fix it. I don't care. Yeah, that was terrible. I did have the spare, though, and it was not flat like the last time he changed my tire. So we're getting closer. But I actually do have another Stooge line, and then I'll wrap it up with Stooge. But he says when they're all sitting in the house and they're looking at the mirror, getting ready to do like seance, he's like, well, "What kind of drugs are we gonna need for this?" And I thought it was fantastic. That's something I wish I would have thought of in school. Every time a teacher proposed, something that we're supposed to do.
There were so many quick lines, like when everyone shows up to the party, and Sam or Sal, he shows up out of he was hiding in the coffin that someone else was trying to get in, so he preempted a guy, which was fun. And he goes like, "Oh, I'm interested to party," and they say, "Yeah, Count Dingleberry, the flaming asshole of Transylvania." He's just such anger in it.
He's so mad that someone got there before him, and that is so great because as a teenager or adolescent, that's exactly what you're thinking. Like, shit, this would be hilarious if I got there first. And that was the best part.
And one more Stooge line when they're all talking about party games to play. And he looks to Angela and says, "We'll play post office. You can be the stamp."
Yeah, I laughed so hard. I rewinded it twice. It was so funny.
I wondered, did Hannibal Lecter get his influence from this guy?
Oh gosh, I hope so.
Anthony Hopkins is just watching some shitty VHS movies, and he's just like, "I need to incorporate that line into a movie." And they even throw in like a children's book reference when Judy's running from Susan, and Susan just leans against a door frame and says, "Run, Judy, run. See Judy, run."
Yeah. That was good. Very clever that they put that in there.
And then when Judy's shitty date gets his eyes gouged out, he comes back as a zombie, as a blind zombie. And out of nowhere says, "Judy, why hast thou forsaken me?" There has been no Jesus allusions throughout this entire thing. It's not like he was killed by being crucified or anything. Do you remember the Bible when Jesus got his eyes gouged out? No.
I think that was the behind the scenes.
The Bible outtakes.
There was a little bit of Bible talk though with I forgot his name, Roger. Him and his dad being a preacher. So I don't know why he's a pirate though, because it would have been so much funnier if he came dressed as a preacher. But
you got the line. Say the line.
I think we should pray. My dad taught me how to real good.
My dad taught me how to pray real good. Not one of those shitty amateur prayers, but the really effective ones.
Yeah, like
prestige
a
class prayers.
direct line to Jesus. I just want him to pray over everything.
These are the calls he picks up on. So blind Sam shows up, or Sam, Max, Johnny, whatever, asshole. Max. So blind asshole shows up, and then Angela, she turns around and she has to one up the quip and goes, "What, Judy? Don't you like your blind date?"
That was killer.
The final line, I think like one of the final lines uttered by a man in this movie was, "Apples."
That old man kills me. He had such great lines, and his I don't remember when he said it now. It was towards the end, right before his death, and he's like, "Oh, rotten pig trash. They're all gonna burn in hell." That is, I want that on a t-shirt so bad. I want to call it.
You already got one t-shirt.
Yeah.
Don't get greedy.
Don't get greedy. That's another t-shirt. That's the back of a t-shirt. Don't get greedy. I have no ass.
Well, we've praised this movie enough. Now it's time to take it to school. It's time to, very few movies are perfect. And this movie is no exception. You led with the goods, so I'm going to start with what in this movie disappointed me. And first, did Freddy Krueger get his dialogue from mulleted shit-stained John Candy? He's just so damn loud and profane.
Yes.
When his girlfriend, I don't know, girlfriend or date, I can't imagine anyone actually wanting to date this guy. This guy is teenage Cartman. He just, when he's driving his car, his girl wants to change the station, and he's like, "Sit down, bitch!"
Oh, God. Yes. But him, when he was turning the car, grabbing the wheel from her, after he told her to drive, that...
Yeah, he says, "Shut up." He says, "Shut up and drive, bitch."
Oh, God, and she almost misses the turn.
Turn here! It doesn't, advise her to stop, turn around, or anything. He just jerks the wheel to just do donuts in the street.
But it was the greatest thing to see Roger just halfway outside of the window as they turn. Just like a ragdoll.
And then when he wipes out the car, it doesn't even show what they hit or what they drive over. So I'm just imagining he burns the car out so much it just grinds the tire down till it bursts. And then he goes, "Shut up and start walking."
Yeah, I couldn't be that guy's friend. I mean, I could just to see what he says next, but I would probably get violent with him often.
Yeah, he's definitely the kind of person that you would hang out with just to be like, he's got to have some redeeming qualities. Like there's a heart of gold under the gruff exterior. No, he's just a fucking asshole.
Yes, the entire movie.
So what was something in this movie that just, disappointed, annoyed you, or otherwise grinded your gears?
Okay, I have one that really bothered me. Why can I not remember her name? The main girl.
Judy,
yes, thank you. I even have it written down. Judy's tights. Okay, so what really bothered me was when she was locked in that room. Her boyfriend just shut the door, locked her in, and she's so chill about it. She tries at the door a couple times, and she's like, "Well, I guess I'm just locked in here." I don't know about you, but if I was locked in a haunted house at any point in life, I would be going crazy. There's a big window right there. I would have thrown something out it. I would have been calling his name, screaming at him. I think it was a little ridiculous that she was so calm about it, but that probably just proves that she's really into kind of abusive guys. I mean, she kind of likes the way Sal talks to her. This is getting into whole psychology, but...
My next bad. She pushes off the creep that only went out with her because he heard that she puts out. She stands up for herself, so you think, oh, finally we're going to get a respectable female hero for our lead. No, she caves in and asks him to come back before he even closes the door. And then later on in the movie, she falls and can't get up. Then she's just in a room where someone tries to come out of a coffin. She slams the lid. No, not even then. At this point, she hasn't discovered that yet. She just gets attacked by an arm on the floor. She kicks it away, and it's not attacking her anymore. And she just screams for about a good 3 or 4 belts. And then she ends up crying on the fucking roof, needing other people to die to save her. She's fucking useless. And when she finally makes it to the basement, she doesn't get that a funeral home would have a crematorium until she's actually grabbing bones and ashes in the oven. She's perplexed at this at some point, thinking wait, is this a big boiler or something?
That was extremely annoying, that she didn't know what it was.
Oh, it got worse. She asked about the plot 3 times in that. Just like Peter denying Jesus. There's the wall that demons can't cross, right? There's the family that was killed, right? There's the plot that I won't stop explaining to you, right?
Well, it's kind of interesting, though, because I think that her character was completely foreshadowed right when they walk into the building. She's like, "Can we go home?" and nobody says anything to her. She's like, well, I guess not. Like, yeah, you're not important here. Clearly.
You're not important to these people. You're not even important to the plot. My next is just like this one. Well, there are some stupid lines, but this is one terribly stupid line that I can't reconcile. Was when Max, when they drive up to the haunted house, Max says, "Oh yeah, this belonged to like this was owned by a funeral home director and his wife." One of them went crazy and slaughtered the others and committed suicide, but they couldn't tell who. How do you know it was a suicide then?
That was pretty terrible. I kind of just, glazed over that. I was like, like, I hope that's not a setup for, like, this entire movie to go downhill. Thank goodness it wasn't.
So what was another bad or just anything that displeased you?
Honestly, that was it for my bads. That was like the biggest thing, was just the complete acceptance of being treated like trash for most of the characters. When I wish I remember the names of these people. The guy who was dressed as a doctor that gets his arm cut off. When he was messing with the fire and Susan was dancing in front of him and he's just staring at her. And his girlfriend just comes over and has a cute little line like, here, this will cool you off. That would never happen. She would have smashed his face with that beer. I promise.
Well, can you really blame him? It's not like he asked Susan to come over and moon him.
That's fine. He can look, but put the job back up. Like, try a little bit. Because there's levels. I mean, I've been on dates where a guy has literally just, like, looked over my shoulder and then followed that girl to where she sat. Like,
oh no.
That's fine. I got that. I got the hint real clear on that one. But this girl, she just like hands him a beer and then sleeps with him in the coffin. She deserves to get her head snapped right when she did. And unfortunately she had a quick death. But I like when she comes back and her head's still backwards when she pops up out of the coffin. Yeah.
One thing I didn't like was Susan's prosthetic boobs.
Yeah, they did good, but
they did not look like the originals. Because we see Susan open up her shirt and we see the natural ones. Then it pans away to something else. When it comes back, her breasts are suddenly a lot shinier and pimplier and more pockmarked.
Yeah, and very stiff when she's running the lipstick, which changes colors, by the way. If you notice from her face to her boob, those are not the same lipsticks. Sorry. But anyway, so she's like trailing the lipstick, and it's just, you can tell, like, the boob doesn't even move.
Okay. In this same scene, she's running along these prosthetic boobs, and you wonder, why does she have fake boobs? What are they getting at? Oh, she shoves the lipstick tube inside her nipple.
Yeah, what was the point of that?
It doesn't, it's not to freak anybody out or disturb them, and the lipstick, it's not like she needs to store the lipstick somewhere where she needs it later. It's just a gem in the holograms version of Videodrome. Where instead of shoving a cassette tape with orders into a guy's stomach, it's just, I'm going to put lipstick into a girl's tit.
Oh, maybe it's a metaphor. Maybe because she's hollow inside. She's very vain.
Speaking of the guy that was the guy dressed up as the doc that got one-armed by the coffin, he has the worst zombie makeup of all. It's like they nailed the arm, they made it look like something that got sheared off by a coffin lid, but then they quit. I had to ask, is he even a zombie, or is he just smart enough to hide the pain and follow their lead?
Yeah, it was so bad. But that also, Sal, when you first see him as a zombie coming back, they only took the makeup down just to where his neck meets his chest. And then he's just tan and shimmery, like he's been sweating this
He
whole
looks like
time.
he's crying.
Yes.
He doesn't even look like he's like, brains or anything. He looks like he's genuinely sad.
Oh, but you feel bad for him the whole time anyway. You know, after the initial meeting him, he's like the nice guy.
Yeah, the douchebag. You think the douchebag's going to redeem himself, and then, oh, no, he's just someone else that's going to die.
Or so.
Yeah, it's bad enough that they're like zombie demons, but they also have telekinesis, because when everyone is in the boiler room, which, surprise, in a funeral home is not a boiler room, but a crematorium, the demons are banging on the door, and all of a sudden, the hinge posts are sliding out so they can push down the door. Nobody thinks to put these hinge posts back in to buy some time.
Yeah, well, Roger was completely useless in that entire scene. Just sitting in the corner crying, and the brains of the operation is pulling at pipes, which she wouldn't. Honestly, I don't think her character would have figured out to do something like that, but, you know.
I wonder if this was a metaphor that the Christian guy who volunteers to pray is not useful at all.
Oh, that's deep. You just offended a lot of people.
I'm just pointing out what this movie might be pointing out, so if that offends you, this movie offends you.
It's all a cover.
Although, if you're the type of Christian that's not offended by a girl's bare booty, bush, boobs, then, what kind of Christian are you? And my last bad, how did Roger climb back up the wall to grab Judy when there was no wire on his side to scale the wall with?
It had to be a stump. It had to be something. It makes no sense. He just magically jumped up the wall, and he was in the exact same position he was before he fell. It makes no sense. Other than he's extremely tall, but I don't recall him being all that tall.
If it was, he wouldn't have struggled to get up. He wouldn't have had to use the barbed wire on his side either.
He's also dressed as a pirate, though.
He could have just used his basketball jump shot powers and just scaled the wall the first time.
But see, that's another thing. The barbed wire was actually attached to these pegs in the wall. Why didn't they just grab at the pegs? They were sticking out of the wall in just the perfect spots for handholds. And he was even, in the beginning, when he was first going at the wall, and then that one girl disappears. Forgot her name, she was gone so fast. He's picking at this spot where there's a semi-missing brick. That's a perfect foothold. How is this impossible that they have to grab the hardest thing, the barbed wire, and tear their hands up? But I will give props to Judy because she held on longer than I would. I would have given out way faster.
Why didn't anybody bite her? There wasn't like they were grasping at a dangling ankle. She was halfway down that wall. They could have just walked up to her and bit her.
I don't know. I did think that the burning hand was pretty good, but the tights were not burnt. They were just slit, and then there was a burn on the skin, so that was great. But other than that, I have no idea. And any movie that you've seen a girl dangling her legs, you're gonna see the shoe fall off. She did not lose her shoes. That outfit was on point. Her hairband stayed in the whole time, perfectly coiffed hair, and she didn't
It took
even
a burning corpse to damage those tights.
Yes, which I really want those tights. They just don't make them like that no more. And everything, she wasn't even hardly dirty in this entire movie until the end. And when she was hanging off of, I'm just ranting now, but when she was hanging off of the building and her arms are hanging on that wood just plank there, the only thing I could think is, how is she not getting, not paper cuts, what are they called? Splinters.
Splinters?
Yes. How is she not getting splinters the whole time? She's shimmying, down with her arms over there. It's a whole thing, but sorry.
And I think it's time to bring back, well, not time to, because we've already brought this back for a few recent movies, the what the fucks. This is just parts of the movie that were just completely unexplained, have no things, no ties to the plot. They just come out of nowhere. They have no explanation, and they never get explained. When Susan is luring Stooge to the bathroom, she locks him out of the bathroom, and he goes, I thought maybe we could go in there together. Was this guy into water sports or scat play? On what clearly would have been his first hookup with this girl? I mean, that's ambitious.
I felt kind of bad for him in that situation because she was pulling him like, hey, let's go have fun. By the way, I'm going to go, drop some weights. You wait here. It just never opens the door again. And but he's so patient about it. He just like mills about until you see him a long time later walk into the common room again. Like, I don't understand.
He doesn't seem like he's got to go to the bathroom anymore, so who knows where he went. What about you? What just something in this movie that just absolutely puzzled you, befuddled you, and had no relation to anything else in this movie?
Well, we've already hit on it. It was definitely the boob eating the lipstick. I just don't understand. I mean, I love random effects being thrown in wherever you can, but it just had no... It didn't have enough, unless I was hoping that the nipple was going to open up and be like a mouth and like chomp at the lipstick and spit it out or something, but it had nothing. It just like disappeared and she was like, oh, I feel better.
Oh, I know what they could have done.
What?
When she's going to hook up with, not Max, who is the shitty date that decided to dump his Alice in Wonderland girl and end up with her.
Is his name not Max? I've been calling him Max this whole time.
Jay?
Jay! That sounds good.
Yeah, so she's hooking up with Jay, and this is where the nipples could have come into play. He starts sucking on them, and then he starts screaming, tries to pull back, and you see that this time the nipple is sucking on his tongue, and just pulls his head in.
Yes. That would have been amazing. Oh my gosh. All I see, though, from that scene, it's so funny. When she turns into a zombie and she's just like, stop looking at me! That's all I want to do now. Like, just freak out every guy I'm ever going to be with. And just kill the mood dead.
Don't look at me, I'm nervous.
I wish I had a mask that's like her face.
Look, I'm really self-conscious about my mole, okay?
Look at my tits. They do tricks. They eat lipstick.
I have to say, something that really just startled me was a line of dialogue when Franny and Max are hooking up. They're completely naked. They found one of the coffins in the common room, the presenting room, and they're going at it. We get to see her boobs. She's on top of him. Everything is good. And then Stooge comes out of nowhere as a zombie after he's gotten his tongue bitten out, which was great. She gets her neck snapped by him. Like, falls on top of him limp because she is, of course, dead. And then Stooge, like, grabs the coffin lid and starts lowering it on Max, like, with this body in, like, with her body on top of him. Like, he's just going to close them both in the coffin. Which, given that the lid is concave, it could accommodate those bodies. Like, you close the lid. Yeah, it's unpleasant, but you'll be fine for now. But no, Max says, Stooge, no, not now. When is it a good time to have your hookup murdered and then have a coffin lid closed with her in it?
I missed that whole part, that him saying that.
Stooge, not now. He says that while trying to push her dead body off of him. Like, oh, I'm sorry, was this the bad time? It's like those diarrhea commercials. Like, have you had this at a bad time? Well, when's the good time? When you're behind in your reading?
But, that's a perfect commercial. Being in a coffin and then you accidentally get diarrhea. I mean, that's perfect time when you really don't want an accident.
It's like, listen, everyone's here to gather. This is going to be everyone's last memory of me. I've really got to put on a decent show.
A real shit show.
The mortician that didn't do his draining part properly.
It was Stooge.
And here's my last one. Seems to be a continuity error. With these two, Fran and Max, they were fucking in the coffin, so they're naked. But when they come out of the house in the final scene, they're both dressed up again.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
When the hell did dead naked Fran and Max put their clothes back on? When did demons give a shit about modesty?
Maybe Roger was praying for their clothing.
He's just like, please don't let me get killed by my naked friends. And God's just like, okay. He just puts the clothes on him. Well, what about the not killing me part? Dude, he's like, motherfucker, I help those that help themselves, okay? Mysterious ways. Now get to it.
Wow, I'm going to have to go back and watch that part again, because I did not notice that. Wow.
Well, as if you needed another reason to watch this movie again.
Third time's the charm.
Okay, well, that seems to be the end of our main critique, but there's one more segment, and that is my kill of the week. And for the longest time, I thought this was going to go to... I keep trying not to call him Sloth.
Sal?
Stooge.
Stooge! Okay. Sloth. I like Sloth.
It's better than calling him Barf.
He does look like Barf.
Especially with that pig nose. He's just a slight... God, if that guy's still alive... He would be a great guy for a sequel in Spaceballs.
Yes, but I wonder if he still has that hairstyle with the colored razor cut on the side. I don't know what you call that, but it was phenomenal, and it was really ahead of its time.
I really thought that for the longest time in this movie, I thought he was going to be the big death, because Angela dancing around, flash dancing like a maniac on the floor. And she ends up putting the moves on Sluggo. And she starts kissing him, and you think, oh man, he is getting way luckier than this guy deserves. He's a friggin' asshole. But then he starts screaming and trying to push her away. And when he finally gets separated from her, he's bleeding profusely from the mouth. She has bitten his tongue. She has silenced the loudmouth asshole. And I thought, this is justice. This is great. This is my kill of the week. But no, in the very last minute of this movie, we return to the old man, who is, again, just pissed off that these two kids are walking home. I really thought that he was going to be upset that it was because a white girl and a black guy were walking next to each other. But no, he just hates kids. He's not a racist. He just hates all kids.
Yes, they're rotten pig trash.
And he ends up having breakfast. An apple pie is a tiny apple pie. This is like an apple tart. I really thought it was quiche at first. But he starts biting into it, and the wife is just like, I don't know why you brought so many apples, but I had to do something with them. And he's like, apples? And then we get to see, like, how did this escape when he was chewing? Because the razor blades decide to just burst through his throat like the Predator's children. I mean, like the Xenomorph's children.
And he was taking such dainty little bites, too.
That is shit you would have noticed. Like, how do you stab your fork through this to pick it up without hitting the metal?
Luck. Just luck.
He didn't even swallow the apple pie. He just swallowed a packet of straight razors.
But how did she peel the apples without cutting herself if he had already put the razors in them for the kids?
Yeah, he's not eating like full apples. He's eating apple slices. How do you get the razors in apple slices?
I don't know. We need science on this one.
And then we thought like, oh wow, did the wife like really catastrophically fuck up? No, she kisses him after he's like, apples, and then his throat just opens up. Like I really expected a tiny face hugger to burst out of his neck and start doing the Michigan rag.
She was so calm about the whole thing, and it was amazing just to see her, like, just her happy little smile about it, knowing what she had done. She's my hero.
So this guy who played Shitty,
Yeah.
his name is Hal Havens, and he has been on Parks and Rec, Justified, and he also played a prospector in Westworld. So he is still kicking it and getting work on high quality shows.
Wow. Go him. Must have traded in the mullet, huh?
So this has been our coverage of Night of the Demons. What did you think? Let us know. Leave a comment on our Facebook page. Just message us. Say hi. If you have a movie that you want to suggest to us, reach us through our social media. That's GYS_horrorpod at Twitter, Facebook.com/The Graveyard Shift Pod. You can check us out there. And if you want to support the show, you can just tell people about us, subscribe to us on any place you get your podcasts. You can also support us financially at patreon.com/graveyard. For just $1 a month, you can hear bonus episodes where we will break out of our usual mold and talk about video games, magazines, any non-movie horror element, or we will just do a movie review, but differently than we do here. No goods, no bads. We just do a scene-by-scene synopsis of the movie. And of course, by supporting the show, you also get fast-tracked on your suggestions. We have a big list of movies. If you want yours bumped up, show a little support, and we will return the favor. If you want to hear any podcasts I am on the Tech Chatter podcast with Rich Reader, where we talk about tech, science, any neat devices or breakthroughs in tech or tech news. I've also got the Playing with Power podcast, where I talk about Nintendo Power Magazine. Then there is the Taste Test Retro Gaming with Flavor, where me and Ivan also, in addition to reading Nintendo Power, we also play old video games and do some skits. And I'm also on the Schlock Chatter podcast, which Rich will release. That's a tongue twister. Eventually. And Sheldon will be back soon. Crystal, do you have any online stuff you would like to plug right now?
You can catch me on Instagram. It's KROZE17, which is K Rose, not Rose. And I believe Twitter is the same thing, although I lack a little bit on that. Facebook is always good. Crystal Bilbray, Bilbray. And just anything you want to do, come talk to me. I don't care. No nudes, please.
Yeah, that's a reasonable request.
Yes.
I don't know if Sheldon would be expecting me to be disappointed or not. So that was our thoughts on this movie. Let us know what you think. But that's it for now. Until then, I'm Mike.
And I'm Crystal.
And thank you for joining us on The Graveyard Shift.